All right, guys, in our last mixing video, we dealt with how to prepare your tracks, your files for mixing, whether you are the one doing the mixing or you're sending it to another engineer. Now that we've got that out the way, we need to learn how to get our files into our session and deal with something that's very important that you might not think is the first thing you need to do. Let's get into it.
At McRae Music.
Hey, you guys doing well? I'm richly blessed. I pray that you're doing well also. We need to organize our session, okay? And we want to take time up front doing that. I know you're like, well, I want to automate stuff. I want to put EQs on stuff. I want to compress stuff. You'll do that later. Several steps later, actually. But the next thing we need to do is we need to get our stuff actually into our session, and we need to organize that session. A great way to start is using a mix template. I did a video a couple years ago dealing with that card up in the top. If you have not seen that video, it walks you through my mix template and talks about why you might want to use a mix template and all of that kind of thing. But once we get our stuff in, we want to spend time organizing up front. We want to get stuff named the way that we want it to be named, put the tracks in the order we want them to be in, get things routed to the buses we want them routed to, get things color-coded even, get our session mapped out so we know where's the verse, where's the third chorus, where's the bridge, right? All those different kind of things. And we want to take the time to do that up front because that is going to make our mixing process easier. As I'm going to say many times during the series, when it's time to mix, the only thing I want to focus on is mixing. I don't want to be in the mix process trying to find where a track is or renaming things. I don't want to do any of that. So I'm going to do all that setup work up front. All right. Before we get into this, take a moment and like this video. Please feel free to subscribe so that you can get notifications on when these videos are coming out because they're really good. I think they are, and I hope you think so too. And I hope that they're helping you. And with that being said, let's get into setting up our mix session. All right, guys, so I'm here in my mix session. Now, I am starting using a template. If you don't know how to create a mix template or you are interested in why you would want to do that, card up in the top for a video that I did a couple of years ago that will walk you through that. This is the same template that's in that video. Some of the plugins and things that I already have set up in here have changed. A lot of them actually have changed, but it's the same template, all right? So I am going to import now those files that we bounced into this template. So I've got my instruments here. I actually go over here to post-production. I've got my separated instruments here. We're going to pull those in, and then I've got a bunch of vocals in here that we are going to pull in as well. So let's go ahead and do that process. So again, and you're going to do this in the DAW of your choice. I mix in Luna. Love it, love it, love it. Moved on from Pro Tools several years ago, and I have not regretted it at all for what I'm doing. This is working well for me. Again, card up in the top if you are interested in hearing why I decided to move on from Pro Tools. It was actually the very first video that I made on this channel, and I do not regret that decision. So we're going to import, and I'm going to switch over to our editing view just so I can see. And we are going to go through the import process. So to import in Luna or pretty much any DAW, we're going to go to File. We are going to go to Import. And we're going to go ahead and start pulling stuff in. So we'll pull in our vocals first, actually. And then we will pull in our instruments. And we'll go through that process, and then we'll come back when it is done. All right, we are done. All of our tracks have been imported into Luna. We can scroll through and see we've got a bunch of stuff here, right? And everything looks nice. Let's zoom out. Look at all that wonderfulness. Let's zoom out here as well. All right, so we got a bunch of stuff to work with here. And we're going to start working with it. I'm going to switch back over to my mix view, and I can see everything laid out so nice in there. Isn't Luna pretty? It's just wonderful. Okay, so before we listen to anything, there are a bunch of things that I want to do that have nothing to do with actually hearing anything or changing any levels or getting a sound at all yet. I want to organize my session, all right? Very, very important. Now, my template is going to help me to do that. The way that I have my template set up, I don't have preset tracks for specific things, right? I have my template set up for with all my buses that I'm going to be using and some different plugins and things running through those buses. But if I were in a situation where I was mixing the same genre of music all the time and the same type of stuff all the time, I probably would have a template where there was already some preset tracks for like bass and drums and things like that. But when I'm mixing all kind of different stuff. Sometimes I have live drums, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have guitars and basses and organs and things. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's just a cappella. Sometimes it's all of the above. Sometimes I got strings and horns and just all kinds of different things. So it doesn't make sense for me to do it that way. So I'm going to spend some time organizing my stuff. Now, the first thing that we are going to do here, and that I'm going to do actually, is I'm going to just kind of put things in an order that I like for them to be. And I am going to, well, let's just start with that. I'm going to start putting things in a specific order. So let's grab all of our drums. And I tend to like to start with drums. Let's grab all of our drums. And I'm just going to hold Command here to just highlight everything separately. We're just going to go through here. Any drums that I see, I'm just going to select them. No, I don't want to do that yet. Right? Any drums that I see, I'm going to select them. All right. And as you can see, we got a lot of drums going on in here. That's a drum, and that's a drum. And I'm going to just drag all my drums to the bottom. Boom. All right. There's all my drums. I am going to position my drum bus because I have a preset drum bus here. Let's find our drum bus. I've got a drum room, but I don't think I'm going to use that for this. We don't have live drums, but just for the heck of it, let's drag our drum bus and our drum room all the way down to the bottom and put it right there in front of our drums. All right. So there we go. We got our drums separated. Now I'm going to ultimately reorder these and put them in the actual order I want. I like to have kicks all the way to the right and then snares and claps and hats and things like that. So we're going to rearrange that. And so that's what you're going to want to do. I'm going to go through that process now. We're going to speed this up and then we'll come back to normal human time when I am done organizing things in regards to their position and what bus is sitting in front of them. All right, let's do it. All right, guys, we've got everything where we want it to be. I've got things arranged in the order I want them to be. I'm going to keep that drum room there for now. I don't know that I'm actually going to use that, but it's there, and everything else is sitting behind the buses that I want them to be in. Nothing is routed yet, so let's go ahead and start routing stuff to the appropriate buses. Again, we are doing all of this before we deal with any kind of gain staging or listening to anything. We're just arranging stuff. And what I'm going to do while I'm sending stuff to buses is I'm also going to color code. And this also can be helpful to just organize your session, right? That's all I'm doing right now is just organizing my session to make it easy for me to not only control stuff, but find stuff. Right? So just mixing over the years, I just have a certain color scheme that I like to use. And you can find whatever color scheme you want, or, maybe you don't really care about that, and that's fine. But I like to have my drums be orange. I like for my basses to be red. Any other key and synth instruments are going to be green. And then if I have guitars, those would be purple. And strings and horns would be yellow. And it just kind of makes it easy for me to just look and kind of see what's what. All right. So we're routing. And then vocals, I would set my background vocals up. As you can see, I got a bunch of background vocal stacks here. So we'll send that to our BV bus. I like for vocals pretty much to be blue, like background vocals. And then I like for lead vocals to be a different color. I haven't settled in yet on a specific color for lead vocals. So that kind of changes from session to session, right? You are going to decide what kind of buses you want to have just based on what's going on in your session, right? And buses, as if you watch the video about the mix template, I talk about how buses are great for gain staging. These give me different areas where I can control the amount of volume or gain going into signal, I should say, being fed into the bus. And then I can control and, kind of see if I notice that the rap bus, for example, is peaking or it's too heavy, then I know, okay, the stuff behind that needs to come down. Then I can see that come down, and then I can feed that into wherever that is going, which all these vocal buses are going into my vocal mix. And again, you can create as many buses as you need for what it is that you are doing. I got all these harmonies and stuff that are going to go into the lead vocal bus. And you can see I've got some plugins that are here. They're disabled right now. Everything is routed properly. Everything is color-coded. All of the vocals are going into their respective buses, which are then being fed into the vocal mix. All of the instruments are being fed into their respective buses where necessary, and then they're being fed into the music mix. And then, of course, all the music mix, vocal mix, and all of my effects are being fed into my mix bus. All right, that is great. So the next thing I want to do in terms of organization is I want to go through my tracks and make sure that the tracks that I want to be mono are mono, and the ones that I want to be stereo are stereo. Logic sends everything out pretty much as stereo. I probably could have converted that on, the back end, but it's easier for me to just bring everything in stereo and change stuff in here. So the way that I do this in Luna is I select the tracks that I want to be stereo, some that want to be mono, excuse me. So I'm going to do this for my, this shouldn't be going to the lead vocal. Let's just send that to the vocal mix. And let's recolor code that just so I know it's something different. Anyway, all these vocals are all going to be mono, right? So I just know right off the bat, I'm just going to highlight all of these. Nice and easy. All right, super easy. And then once I have all of these highlighted, I am going to tell Luna to convert these to mono. And then after I do that is when I'm going to rename them. All right, so the _1 that's there, I'm just going to go through there and get that out of there. So I have all these highlighted. We'll deal with our instruments separately because some stuff I want stereo and some stuff I want mono. So I'll make that decision after we do this. All right, so I have these selected. In Luna, I'm going to go to track and I'm going to say convert to mono. Let's do it. This is important to do because it is going to help with my stereo field when I want to go ahead and start panning things. Things that should be mono, if I have them as stereo, is creating extra information that can kind of cloud things up sometimes, muddy things up a little bit. So we want to go ahead and make sure the stuff that's supposed to be mono is going to be mono, and that's going to make life a little bit easier. It's going to go ahead and do the conversion here. There were a bunch of tracks, so it'll take a couple moments, and we'll pop back in when this is done. All right, now that that is done, you see that it converted, and it basically gave me a mono left and a mono right for each of these tracks. And all I'm going to do here is just keep one of them. It really doesn't matter. It's the same information. So I'm just going to keep all of the rights and delete the lefts, and then we'll center everything. So I'm just going to take a moment and highlight all of these. And then once I have them highlighted, I'm going to delete them. And then we will come back and see what we have. All right, we are good. We have deleted the lefts and we have all the rights. Again, if you did the opposite, it doesn't matter. It's fine. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to center all of them. We can see them all still panned to the right. Quick tip for that, just highlight stuff whenever you want things to go back to either unity on the fader or center in the panning. We just highlight, you hold your Alt key and left click. Boom, there we go. Nice and easy. Let's do the same thing for our wrap. and our talk vocals here and these choruses. I'm going to rename those in a minute. And then all of these. All right, so we've done that here for our vocals. We're good. I'm going to go ahead and do that same process for our instruments, and then I'm going to rename all of these tracks, and then we'll come back and take a look and see what we have after that. All right, guys, we have got ourselves a clean looking session. Look at what we got here. We've got, forgot to rename this first guy right here. Cool. All right, we have got ourselves a clean looking session here. This is looking great. Let's change the color of our lead vocal. And let's go with this guy. I told you I'm still figuring out what color I want my lead vocals to be. But anyway, everything is in here. Everything is named. Haven't panned anything. Haven't adjusted the levels of anything yet, but everything is routed correctly. Everything is labeled. Everything is colored. And this is a good looking session. All right. Now, the last thing that I would do, or that I like to do, is go ahead and add markers to the session. So I like to play through the song from beginning to end and just begin to add markers in so I can start to easily jump to the particular section of the song that I want to jump to. And again, I'm doing this, resisting the urge to change anything or move anything. I'm just organizing my session. So I'm going to do that process here in hyperspeed, and then we'll be right back. All right, we have got our session all labeled out so I can easily and quickly jump to whatever part of the song that I want to jump to. And we are good. We are ready to start building a rough mix. We're not going to do that in this video. We're going to do that in our next video because there's a whole set of things that I want to focus on there concerning that, all right? But doing this organization here is going to help us out. It's going to make it so that as we begin, again, the goal is to do as much stuff up front before we start mixing so that once we start actually mixing, the only thing that we're focusing on is mixing. We're not having to reroute stuff. We're not having to rename stuff, any of that. We can find what we want to find, get to what we want to get to, and just focus in on dialing in the mix that we want for that record. All right, we've got our mix session organized and we are ready to start building a rough mix. We're going to get into that in our next video. I hope that this is helping you guys. Please feel free to please share this, get the word out, let people know what's going on over here on the Ed McCray Music YouTube channel. And feel free to leave comments in the comment section. I always enjoy interacting with you guys. I'm so appreciative of the love that you're showing me and just the not only the stuff that you are showing to me, but also your wisdom and your expertise. I don't know everything, right? You might know some things I don't know. You might do some things differently than I would do them. Feel free to throw stuff like that in the comment section. I always love seeing different perspectives because we're all trying to learn and grow as music producers and audio engineers and all of those kinds of things together. All right, I will see you in our next video and we're going to learn how to start building out a rough mix. All right, see you next time, guys. Peace.